Well, last time we got through the worst game in the franchise, so we'll see if they redeem themselves nope. Not yet. Thus begins the era of when they thought Spider-Man needed sidekicks that are supervillains for some reason. Because that makes sense, right? Fiend or Ho, or whatever. It has a plot about Spider-Man stopping a plan to infest all of the world with symbiotes. Wait a second. What?
Spidey, whoever's behind all this, got symbiotes.
Oh, and someone is kidnapping and mind-controlling Spider-Man villains to make them evil. I'm pretty sure the majority of them would have helped out with whatever evil plan you had. You didn't really have to mind-control them to get them to do any of this. Oh, whatever, none of this makes sense. Oh my god, Harry, look! It's your dad! He's okay! He's still the Green Goblin! Harry? Don't you care? Harry? Aren't you gonna say anything to him? Harry? No? Oh. Okay. This is where they clearly didn't care that much. I would say this one almost feels like a game for little kids. Oh, wait, yeah. Yeah, I would say it because it is. It's structured like a Lego game. You start with a hub area and go to different locations, 2-player co-op, collectibles you don't care about, unlockables, simplistic design for kids to get through because they're dumb. The main difference being that Lego games were fun. You actually had, I don't know, level design. This is just a tool for parents to keep their kids distracted for a few hours so they don't have to listen to them ask for more Ben 10 action figures, which they'll play with and forget about after 10 minutes. You just smash and hack at every pathetic enemy you come across until you get to a boss, or in some segments when they were lazy, you just get a tiny cutscene where a random character just says, "Hey, let's team up," and then Spider-Man says, "Oh, okay." The gimmick is that you get to play through it with a ton of villain characters as your co-op buddy. I remember playing it with my cousin as a kid and being torn because I wanted to play as Venom, but I didn't want him to play as Spider-Man, because I was a petty little brat. But I settled on Venom because he's always awesome. Almost always. The gameplay consisted of walk into an area, the doors will close, fight everything, doors open, move to next room, do the same thing. 70 hours later, you get the end. I know beat-em-ups were a popular style of game at one point in history, but this is a massive step down from everything we know this character can do. Here, let's test the web-swinging physics. Well, I guess I'll be walking then. Everything is designed to look like the Sam Raimi versions of the characters, so I suppose it's the last piece of that series of games. Wow. This is the finale to that whole series, including Spider-Man 2. Huh. Went out with a depressing whimper, right? It's the last chronological thing to ever exist with the Sam Raimi movies. I hate whatever this is so much.
Next level games.
This game does have somewhat funny writing.
But that's not the worst part.
It gets worse than Venom?
Worse is a relative word. Venom is only a rating 7 of 10 on a scale of terrible ways to die.
See, that meteor shower he was part of...
As a means of comparison, some selections from level 8 include wasps with laser-guided...
Computer, put a sock in it!
But it's bogged down by the gameplay that feels like busy work. Getting anything done is a chore. I guess the premise of Spider-Man teaming up with his villains while the scenario is about as likely as Fantastic Four getting an Oscar, it's at least unique and fun. I'm a little weirded out by the fact that I have more positive things to say about this cheaply made kids game than Spider-Man 3. It doesn't harm the material it's attached to, and it certainly isn't an insulting game. But it doesn't do anything to set it apart from not just Spider-Man games, but video games in general. They didn't make any attempt to be wild and new, or improve on things they did before, nor did they go above and beyond. I don't hate it, but I will not dignify it by asking if it is a definitive Spider-Man experience. Alright, a game with things actually happening in it. So it has a plot about Spider-Man stopping a plan to infest all of New York with symbiote. Really? Is everyone that lazy with the writing? Venom is cool and all, but must he be the center of attention always? Maybe it's just because the movie came out the previous year and he was popular at the time, but come on. So, something goes wrong with the suit and it starts spawning like crazy, and Venom takes over New York. Every boss fight happens twice, the second time with that character being controlled by an alien, which led to some really creative character designs. Spider-Man even has the suit, so he may be affected behaviorally by it, which is where the choice system comes in. You do what angry punk-ass murder man Black Suit would do.
Bring it on! I don't care how many of you are...
Drop the device at once.
Moon Knight? Hello!
Or you choose what the character people actually came here for would do.
Oh, come on, guys. There's only one of me, and there's like...
I'm all for putting choices in games. There are some cases where it isn't appropriate. Any Spider-Man fan wouldn't pick these renegade options, because at that point he isn't even Spider-Man anymore. He's just some annoying jerk with tentacles and a bad attitude. The only choice I could kinda get behind is choosing Black Cat over Mary Jane, but even that's really out of character. Sorry, Felicia, but I'm only into redheads. Everything in this game is so melodramatic, be it from the soul-searching through a war zone with sad piano music, or Spider-Man narrating sadly over the events of the past few days, and Venom kills himself, or you kill him.
So long, Brock.
And tons of people die, and Mark Millar dies, and everyone dies.
This one's no longer useful. Good day.
Maybe this is also part of the Raimi films. Think about it. Spider-Man is depressed and has a horrible, annoying, whiny, grating voice.
Where is MJ?
MJ!
Where's Cage and his search party? You are no help!
That ABC!
MJ looks like Kirsten Dunst cap, and they act as if Green Goblin was a thing fairly recently.
Green Goblin is so 6 years ago. Come on, the kids, they like the Venom and the Sandman.
It's like this game is a big apology for Spider-Man 3 by doing the same thing even better. I never realized how close these two feel to each other. There are similar animations, and they even brought back this robot design they only used in one scene in the last game. Didn't want those man hours to go to waste, huh guys? So this one doesn't have any Venom screen time either, though. He's at the center of the entire plot, and the reason any of this happens, but he's in only 3 scenes, all of which are boss fights. Well, at least he's not Topher Grace anymore, and he's genuinely creepy every time you do see him.
You dare to take the other from me. I will take the girl from you.
For the gameplay, you can switch off between Black and Red Suit really quickly, both having totally different sets of fighting moves. Though I don't like the particle effects and sounds with his attacks, he looks kinda like a Street Fighter character, when it should be more like a Mortal Kombat character, you know? You can fight on walls now, which is something Spider-Man should do, so it's awesome. And they have this neat thing called a web strike. This move makes it so you can travel and break people's noses at the same time. It's an awesome mechanic that combines web swinging and fighting into one. It looks great too. The combat isn't anything too complex or groundbreaking, but it's very engaging and makes you feel as agile and strong as you should. The animations for the moves are extremely well done, and it's just the right amount of over the top. And again, Spider-Man feels stronger in this game. Thank God he was so nerfed in Spider-Man 3. In that game, he could get beaten up by anything capable of forming a fist. Here, let's test this out. Okay. Never gonna do that again.
Get to the bombs! They're trying to blow up the courthouse!
I am the bomb squad.
The swinging is fine. In fact, it's actually pretty good. We finally figured it out. You hold down X for a second to boost forward, and you hold it down even longer to go straight up. Finally! I still miss the climbing mechanic from Ultimate Bomb Squad, but the animations are very fluid and you can move at the perfect speed. It's great. It's especially fun for when you do the Black Cat Chase mission. That's almost like a staple of this series now. Missions where you chase Black Cat somewhere. Spider-Man 2 did it and people like that one, so we should do it too. This time you get to punch her in the face a bunch of times and then she makes out with Spider-Man's masked face. I don't get it. What lesson about relationships should I take away from this? If your girlfriend or wife is in the hospital, it's okay to meet some woman in a tight leather outfit on a rooftop where you beat her up for a while and then she kisses you violently through your
A full-body latex cat suit, or am I misreading the situation?
Well, technically, it's a Zentai.
What?
And this is getting too weird for me. I'm just gonna go fight Electro again. Well, hey, they made a stupid costume look kinda cool at least, so they earned points for that. Actually, I want to address that Electro is the best boss fight in the entire game. This chase sequence is epic in every sense of the word. The only one that rivals it in interesting design is the mid-air battle over the Empire State Building. Whoops, I mean the Trask Building. Yeah, you heard me. The Trask Building.
The harmonics will only work on the right kind of alloy. American steel, forged before 1940. Only one building has the right makeup. The Trask Building.
Yeah, no idea what the hell that's all about. Maybe they couldn't get the rights. But Peter Dinklage owns this building now, I guess. Halfway through the game, the entire city becomes infected with symbiotes, and you spend most of your time at a SHIELD base in Tony Stark's office, surrounded by a fence made of loud noise, which I can walk through just fine for some reason.
The symbiotes are vulnerable to sound.
You guys know the suit can breathe underwater, right? And they can swim? They could totally get around that in like 3 ways. Look. A ton of random Marvel characters show up for the fun too, including Wolverine, Rhino, Luke Cage, and the tragically underrated Moon Knight.
You worry me, Spider-Man.
Wolverine also has a pretty cool boss fight where he doesn't think you're actually Spider-Man. So he asks you Spider-Man trivia questions. Oh man, I am so ready for this! I have been training my whole life for this! Yeah!
Kingpin has launched a massive operation tonight.
What? He made dinner plans?
He has assembled a large, well-equipped force to hand out multiple operations simultaneously.
Well, he must be ordering takeout.
I warn you only once. Do not behave this way again.
So once you recruit these people, they can help you along with missions. Even though this is a different development team, I guess the buddy idea from Friend or Foe was still in their heads at this point. and they wanted to make it work somehow. Here it's easy to forget you can even do it, but fun when you do get them to help you out. There aren't really any side missions anymore. It's all scripted stuff that's required to beat the main story, so there's not really any pointless busy work. They give you something on occasion, like swing kick 10 guys or blow up 5 cars. But those are really easy, and you would be forgiven to just forget about them and only do the story stuff. The fun part is during the invasion section, when you can help civilians make it to the safe zones and fight the Horde. It's like Walking Dead with SpiderMan. Ooh, collectibles! I wonder how many of these there are. No. No. Nope. Hunt Venom down, huh? Okay. What? Well, that was quick. He wasn't making much of an effort to hide or anything, jeez. New York looks better than ever and has multiple stages. So it goes from being same old to this disgusting wasteland with skin growing all over the buildings. It looks pretty good for this era of games. On top of looking fairly realistic, parts of the environment are destructible, making fight scenes look awesome when Spidey gets slapped through a mailbox and into the side of a car, or he uses a special move and accidentally crushes a storefront. You start the story in a small neighborhood and work your way across the city as the situation escalates, so it has a nice sense of progression in the open world. The black suit is a blast to use. In my earlier playthroughs as a little kid, I rarely used it because I wanted to be the real Spider-Man. But as a young adult, I decided to give it a shot, and it makes everything so easy. You can just chuck cars at everyone and smash people's heads in. It gives me that nostalgia for playing as Venom in Ultimate Spider-Man. It's so fun, actually, that I ended up using it more than the standard suit. It's almost addictive, and I know it's bad to use because of how destructive it can be, but it just makes it so much easier. Wait, was that intentional? That's brilliant! I am so powerful using this creepy alien that I end up turning into a scumbag and knocking half the city down while fighting. It's like a drug that you start abusing halfway through.
Oh, come on, don't treat me like I'm an addict saying I can quit any time. I'd love to get this thing off of me, I just haven't figured out how yet.
That's such an amazing little gameplay detail. The story translates to a gameplay mechanic. This is what I want out of this stuff. The suit feels for the player how it should feel for Spider-Man to use. Even if the influence of it doesn't grab you much in the story itself and you ignore all the choices, it works in the gameplay, so the point of it is not lost. The ending has one of my favorite boss fights ever, and a death scene for Venom that's nothing short of amazing if you pick the red option. I think the concept for everything is fun, and it's a unique take on the idea that these game developers keep pushing for. But it's not perfect. A symbiote invasion just doesn't work for a whole mess of reasons. Ready to hear me get all nerdy? I'm gonna go full on, no stops. This one's going hard. No brakes on this nerd train. Ready? Okay. Technically, the entire plot of this game doesn't work because in 1993's Venom Lethal Protector number 4, scientists stated that Venom's suit was only capable of producing a spawn about 6 times, one being Carnage and the rest being the group Spider-Man calls the 5 Venoms in that storyline. So whether this story is in the continuity of the comics or not, it's fair to expect that the same rules apply and the suit cannot create more than 6 total symbiote predecessors. Unless, of course, the suits all spawned around 6 more of their own, creating an exponential growth pattern in population of one symbiote immediately producing 6. Though this is also highly unlikely because the suits spawn on completely random occasions with years in between. Using Carnage's offspring Toxin and Scorn as an example, were both birthed several years apart. It's also unlikely that this is indeed the single Venom symbiote infecting the entire city because symbiotes can't grow and spread on this level without gaining mass. In Carnage USA number 1, Carnage takes control of an entire town of people, but in order to do so, he must consume an entire slaughterhouse full of pigs and cows to give the symbiote more mass. Venom wouldn't have the necessary supply of flesh to consume in order to grow over all of New York unless he had eaten an entire city's worth of cattle first. It is also out of character for Venom and Eddie to partake in such wanton destruction, being that the suit was revealed to be sympathetic and helpful to its host rather than parasitic and harmful in the Amazing Spider-Man Super Special Issue number 1, Planet of the Symbiotes. Speaking of Planet of the Symbiotes, symbiotes can indeed achieve kaiju status if they consume several hundred other symbiotes for mass, which Carnage did in that storyline to stop the symbiote invasion and make himself powerful enough to kill all of New York. Venom would not be able to expand his suit to this quantity unless he had first absorbed several thousand other symbiotes. This takes place after the Purge device Tinkerer created went off, killing all the aliens in New York. Where the rest of these suits came from, why Venom is not affected by the Purge mechanism, and how Eddie Brock could exist inside that thing are all unknowns, seeing as how the suit does drain life from the wearer after all. So, in short, using the lore provided, none of this can happen. This story is impossible if you do the homework.
You have much to answer for.
Virginity secured. Got that shit on full lockdown. Oh my god, what is my life? So, cool boss fights, fun scenes and dialogue, but overall it has a lackluster story and the concept is a little tired. Gameplay is awesome all across the board, and I think this game works better if you pretend it's Spider-Man 3 instead. Just switch him out in your head and this is the perfect follow-up to 2. Doesn't do anything new or crazy, but it serves its purpose well. I think this one is worth a playthrough for both fans of the character and people who are new to the superhero genre of gaming. It's really good, but it definitely isn't the perfect Spider-Man game. There are a lot of tiny little nitpicks that can be made, and the tone is wrong for a character that is lighthearted the majority of the time. The gimmicks of the black suit and these moral choices, they just kind of detract from the feeling of simulating spiderhood. You shouldn't have to choose which kind of Spider-Man you want to be. You should just be the regular one, and love every minute of it. Just get this guy right. No more of that overused costume that makes him a jerk, okay? We got the alien costume right this time, so let's just leave it at that. They just can't seem to focus on perfecting the one and only Spider-Man, which is where the next game makes the same mistake. But I'll get to that one next time.
One does not get where I am in life being nice.
One doesn't get to where you are in life without eating a few hundred donuts a week.
In the interest of personal gain, I can easily ignore your childish jokes.
It's quite obvious to everyone that you are indeed a master of personal gain. A waistline like yours is quite an achievement.